when you get divorced, you're really like breaking some really important social expectation. Like divorce is like a failure and a bad thing, and it's you failed, you're hurting the kids, you guys fucked up, someone's being probably the man is being selfish. I feel like the man maybe gets blamed more. I think if a man leaves a woman, he's thought of as bad, whereas if a woman leaves a man, she's more thought of as liberated or something.
She's liberated, but she's leaving because he's bad.
Right.
Right? He's bad for one of the 3 crimes.
Yeah.
I shouldn't even mention them, but it's always just like substance abuse, physical abuse, or somehow
cheating.
they have checked out. Right? And so the woman is like, he's useless to me now, so I move on. And then everyone applauds. Very good. Right? Yeah. It's like...
And I think this breaking of the social expectation, and if when you get divorced as a man, you kind of give up your good boy persona to some degree. I think that's part of the initiation that Harg was talking about, is it's like you're cutting the umbilical cord of society treating you like a good boy. It's like, oh, he's a bad boy now. He's a fucking renegade, bachelor, shitty man. And that allows you just to be like, fuck it. All right, now I'm just going to be whoever the fuck I want.
Yeah. And in that process, we all learn an incredible amount. Like, it's really amazing looking back on my little 15-year-old self with braces and my first girlfriend to like just boom, 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 all the sequence of events. You know, I was engaged to Diane Cooper when we were in grad school, and so I feel like I've been married twice. Because we were all in, you know?
Yeah, and you guys were together. You lived together, and you guys were together for quite a while.
Yeah, for like 3 years.
Yeah.
And then she surprised me. It wasn't actually a surprise. I experienced shock, even though I knew we should break up. I knew it. I was like, there's something terribly wrong. We can't figure out how to reinvent ourselves. We're just in this groove. We have sex every single day, but we do it exactly the same way. Mm-hmm. It was just like, it was literally like we had merged so far that we were just like masturbating with each other with our penis and vagina together.
Yeah.
We would just put them together. It was so
I think that's common.
classic.
I think when you've been with a woman a long time, it's hard to not just get into the same routine sexually.
I remember in the end, she said to me, "Why didn't you just flip me over and fuck me from behind?" And I was like, I was like, what? Because I recall at one point her being like, "Oh, I don't like that. It hurts. It's like it goes too deep." And I was like, "Oh, okay, well." And I didn't think like, "Well, stop fucking ramming it in all the way." Like, what a fucking idiot. Like, what the fuck? Isn't that so stupid? Instead, I was just
some women like it, the pain of from behind having it rammed in a little too hard.
I know. Yeah, she did not like that pain. And so, yeah. But it's like, fuck. It's just, when I look back on how we got stagnant, because sex is only just one tiny part of it, right? You know, it's something that we did every single day. I don't know why. Like, every night we'd get in bed and we would have sex till orgasm. We're so weird. And it was just like, oh, wow. That's kind of a neat little thing. Like our chemistry and sexual compatibility in that way was remarkable. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before or after. Although I've then run into all kinds of awesome compatibilities also, right? But it's really amazing to see, like, what do you learn about yourself? You know, like when you got divorced, what what did you learn? Because I'm very close to you, dude, and I remember your before, and I know you now, and there is really something big happened to you, man.
Totally. Yeah. I think that up until around the time, a little bit before my divorce, I was like trying to follow the script and be a good boy. And who David really was or what David really wanted wasn't important. I was trying to do what you're supposed to do and do the right thing and do the good thing.
What is the good thing and the right thing?
To be a good father, to be a good husband, to live for something bigger than yourself, for the health of the family, for the health of the society, to do the right thing. And, I think all that stuff is good, but...
Where were your hopes and dreams? Like, did you...
I think my pre-divorce vision was that a truly good, mature man was not selfish and not about himself. He was trying to provide for the family and raise a healthy child and create a healthy family and then do good work, and the work is good for the world. And which is a cool vision. I like that. I don't want to say none of that is true, but the problem is, I guess there's two problems. Let me get, there's a bigger, almost like karmic thing that's kind of interesting, but let me do the simpler one, which is, I think there's been this pendulum swing. 100 years ago, the man was sort of the alpha of the house and everyone else was kind of secondary to him. And no one really wants to acknowledge it, but there's been kind of a pendulum swing where there's a little bit more of a default that the woman is a little bit more supposed to be kind of the alpha, and a good man is kind of supposed to be a good husband to his wife.
Beta. And
that wouldn't inherently have to be a bad thing, except that I think because no one knows it, sometimes women, they then are running things from an emotional place or from their old emotional wounds, and that's not a good alpha thing for a couple or a family to follow.
Yeah, wow. I like that you just brought in this historical context and the drift that we've observed to where, I think they've stopped doing this so much on TV, or I've just stopped watching TV. I don't know, but there used to be all these commercials where they would depict men as kind of fat dad bods, and they were just kind of idiots, and the woman was the one who knows what to do, and the man is just like, oh, well, I guess I don't know. And then the woman's
totally.
This is how
it goes. It's so common. The Simpsons, Homer Simpson and Marge Simpson is a perfect example of what you're talking about.
There you go.
But in sitcoms, that's just the norm, is the dad is a fucking buffoon and the woman is kind of in charge and smart and responsible.
I wonder why we're making fun of that trope. Why, I don't know. That was not a proper sentence, but
well, it wouldn't be. Think of the opposite. It wouldn't be safe to do the opposite. Think of the dad as this smart, capable, in charge, and the woman is just a dizzy blonde or a stupid fat lady that just watches soap operas. That wouldn't be acceptable to put on TV.
Why?
Because of the PC woke feminist movement.
Oh. It seems like that would be a good show. I think I might like that show, right? Just in direct opposition to the fact that it's just being shoved down our throats. What was it like for you as you separated from your wife? It's a very open question.
It's really, it was super difficult, super disorienting, because it's your whole narrative and construction and belief system about what life is, who I am, all just fucking comes deconstructed. So, and I just felt like a bad person all day, every day for months and years.
How do we all not just end up in the psych ward? it's so baffling what we all go through.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely.
as you just described, that disorienting and thinking you're bad, and like you clearly don't know what you are anymore. You don't know what you're supposed to do. And then, so when did you figure out that you're actually okay and this is where you should be? How did that happen?
It took a while. You have to. I think there's like kind of like the metaphor of death rebirth. You kind of have to let your old view of yourself and your view of the world die, and let it go, and it's gone, and you just let it go, and then it's like, all right, well, who the fuck am I? What is life now? And then you start to be like, okay, I'll have a new thing now, and you kind of construct a new sense of yourself and what life is and what's good and what's meaning and blah blah blah. And it's like, and it takes, I think, a few years.
Really? You think that anybody figures it out quickly? Or do you think there's like a pretty standard dose? I guess it would depend on how much you bought into the original idea from society that what a husband is.
Yeah.
Right? What a husband is to live selflessly for the others. Right? You go to work to provide for them. You wake up, you make breakfast for them. Right?
Yeah.
You drive the car for them. And on and on and on. Whatever, right? Like that. Like, I think most of us buy into that when you get married. There's something very symbolic about this whole marriage thing that we should stop doing. We should kind of maybe...
Well, yeah, I'm confused about that because I like all those ideas of like living for things that are bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't seem like it goes well for most people. So there is some flaw in it, but I don't think that the ideals are flawed. I think that something about the way that we're playing them out is flawed.
How's that? Like so the idea of you living for something bigger, turns out that's very good for your kids, right? I mean, because then you're actually there for your kids, and you do a great job as a parent. Well, you do a good enough job. Instead of being a shit parent, you're good enough, right?
Yeah.
Then, what? Man, that whole dude, the good enough parent thing, just that tweaked me, because then I was thinking about, like, were my parents good enough? It's like, well, yeah, they were, and then were they absent, and did they miss a bunch of shit? Yeah, they did that too, right? And it's like, like, regardless of how hard you try, this has taken us away from what this point was that we're both making. But this point of, like, if you buy into the appropriate role of what we think it is, and then what did you say about, like, when you live out these ideals, then we struggle to do this in a way that, it seems to fail. Why do you think that is?
Here's one fucked up idea I have is that I'm gonna come at it from this weird angle. I think I identified as politically liberal for the vast majority of my life. And I think what I thought, which I think most liberals think, is I want to be a good person. I think we should have higher taxes on the rich because we should give money to the poor. And I'm not greedy. I'm a good altruistic person, so therefore I'm politically liberal, so I want to do that. And so I think liberals think they're superior to right-wing people because they have that belief. And I think I thought that. And then if I just keep this in a very simple way, but this is going to be a bigger metaphor, is okay, well, David or Porn or even someone who doesn't make quite as much money, it's like, well, so you think like the 1% is bad because they're the filthy rich and we should tax the 1%. Well, the global 1% is like $38,000 a year. So you're in the 1%, I'm in the 1%. So should we raise the taxes massively on you, Porn, on you, David? Like, you're so liberal. Like, let's give 70% of your income to the people in Africa. And no liberal would ever want to be like, no, I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about Jeff Bezos, you know? But at some point, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not so good. I don't want to give 70% of my income to the people in Africa. It's like, I'm not that good. I'm really not as good of a person as I think. I'm actually kind of selfish. And I want to drive a nice car, and I want to eat, I like to eat a steak, but it's not clear that that's actually like a morally right thing to do. I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, but killing a cow so that I can have a tasty steak or my nice car or whatever. So I think maybe part of the design flaw back to the marriage thing is humans were not as good as we fucking think we are.
Wow, you did come at it. That was a crazy angle.
Yeah, we're like more selfish and we want what we want and we want a hot partner and we want money and we kind of want it to go our way. And I don't know. I just think that this idea of like you get married and you're going to be a good husband and a good family man, like that's great and we should aspire to that. But I think the biological reality of us, the way we evolved in terms of Darwinian fucking is like in conflict with that marriage thing. Like let me just give a specific example. I hate that I'm saying any of this and I don't know if it's true, but it's like there's sort of this idea that a woman, after she's like got a guy, like she wants to like get the guy, and that's just a biological thing. After she's got him, she loses sexual attraction to him for Darwinian evolutionary reasons.
Yeah.
And if that's true, that really makes marriage a fucking death sentence.
So I like you point that out about women, but also dudes feel the same way.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah, I don't mean to pick on women anymore. Dudes have similar things that they're fundamental flaw.
Yeah. Is it okay to just acknowledge that? Like,
I think it's not really okay to acknowledge it in many circles, but it seems like we have to.
And so what we're acknowledging is that biologically we aren't actually going to survive this whole concept of marriage unless you can do some incredible internal gymnastics psychically, because you have to turn off many valves. Yeah. You have to turn off many biological drives.
Yeah.
And you'd have to just accept that, well, I'm with someone, I'm not attracted to her anymore. I actually kind of don't like them anymore. And I'm just going to stay because I said I'd stay.
And the good marriage thing, the good Christian thing, whatever it is like you do that, you stay, and you're happy with it. But I'm worried that there's something in our brain that we can't just flip the happiness switch however the fuck we want.
You mean that if you stay with someone who you don't respect anymore, you don't really like
You're
them,
not going to be fucking happy no matter how much you believe in that ideal of marriage.
Wow, you said that with some conviction.
Well,
yeah.
I don't really know, but
well, just think of anything else, right? Like imagine if we come and like back in Asia, we come in and just convert everyone to Islam, right? Do you think you would actually convert? Do you think of course you would say it or you get chopped up, right? But so, do you think you would actually believe it?
No, there's absolutely no way in hell. It would be physically impossible.
So, in a similar way, is there some type of disillusion happening? Like a massive disillusion. I don't know why I use that word, but because you think about how many people, they all have these weddings, and they plan the wedding, and they have ideas. This is a costume wedding. we're going to do it at this venue. We're going to do it at Edgar Allan Poe's house. Yeah, it's very fascinating, right? And then everyone comes, yay, it's this thing. And then, somewhere down the road, the two people don't like each other anymore, and they want to live in separate houses.
Yeah.
Like, but I don't know why. Like, we just came to this place, and I felt like, shut up, don't say anything else. Like, don't say any more about this subject. I had this like internal censor come in and be like, nope, you literally just got to a place where you two better stop this.
Right, we're treading on fucking sacred territory, and it's the fabric of our society that holds shit together that we're treading on, and that fabric is not very solid.
Oh, right. Jordan would be upset. My grandma would be very like, oh, I watched your podcast, you guys, and this is very bad stuff you're saying. She would not like that.
No. The whole right wing does not like what we're saying.
But if we return to this idea of fundamentally we're just going to radically accept that we as human beings have certain drives and needs and capacities, and we should actually attune to them and listen for real. Mm-hmm. And so if you find that the person you're with, you don't like them anymore, you don't like who you've become, I think this is probably the biggest part. You don't like who you've become in the relationship.
Right.
That's really much bigger problem than, oh, she's fat now. Like, no, I have become a fucking loser, or I am not being who I need to be. I'm not living in alignment with what my actual design is. And so then you implode. You then somewhat terrorize the relationship until someone pulls the plug and escapes.